Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here in June. I'm very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching. I warned you all. I told you all that the Joker movie was a game changer. Let's go back to 2017 after the reaction to Justice League and after the reality that Justice League wasn't going to make the $1 billion plus that Kevin Sugihara had hoped and dreamed by destroying another man's vision. Instead, it was the beginning of the end of what Kevin Sugihara had set up. He stupidly brought in Christopher Nolan to Godfather role a DC franchise when the truth is Chris wasn't committed. Chris wanted to bring other people in to run the franchise for him while he oversaw it now and again. That was very problematic, and it should never have been allowed to happen because the person that Chris brought in didn't have the confidence of the studio, right? So anyway, after Justice League and what went wrong with it, Kevin Sugihara decided that they would implement New Line Cinema to make all their DC movies. So they spoke to some of the creatives, and Todd Phillips had this idea to have a DC black label where they could do anything. Basically, they could make a movie about a DC character that would be unrelated. You could make it an origin story. It could be in the character's future, whatever. It had nothing to do with the DCEU. Todd Phillips had a great idea. Now, Todd Phillips has written and directed the Joker movie, starring Joaquin Phoenix. Did you ever think 5 years ago that Joaquin Phoenix would be playing the Joker? No. One of the greatest actors in this generation. He's playing the Joker. And already people who are running film festivals because Todd Phillips insisted that Joker movie would be going to the Venice Film Festival. And people who have seen the film already are saying this is going to the Oscars. This is a serious contender for the Oscars. And this is massive. When you think of the desperation Disney used and Iger used and Feige used to try and get Black Panther to win Best Picture, and they didn't get near any important Oscars. Let's be honest. You can say, yeah, they were nominated for this, they won this, it doesn't matter. This is the real deal. This film isn't going to the Oscars because of political commentary. It's going to the Oscars because it's a fucking good film. It's a film that I've seen. So I can proudly, and I have been proudly telling you that this film is a game changer. This changes everything for the industry. Why? Because we are desperate for real films made by real people who understand what a good film is. That a good film is something people can watch it again and again. A good film isn't something that has got lots and bags of representation and cool kid stuff in it, but is boring. No. A good film can have great representation, but also can actually be a good film. Because we know the love interest in this film is a woman of colour. Yup. And she's fucking amazing, right? So what's amazing about this film, without spoiling it for you, it represents very, very serious commentary on male mental health, and it's executed in such a compelling, emotional way, but it actually does the character of the Joker justice. You see him slowly getting beaten and broken psychologically until he's not the man he once was. He's not Arthur Fleck anymore. And it's amazing. Now let's read this article from IndieWire, because this has got more about the Oscar push and Todd Phillips' push for it to go to the Venice Film Festival. And it's definitely going now, and that's great news. Todd Phillips pushed Joker to compete at the Venice Festival, director says. It's going to the Oscars. Awards buzz for Todd Phillips' Joker skyrocketed this week after it was announced that Warner Bros. Comic book tentpole would world premiere in competition at the Venice Film Festival and also screen at the Toronto International Film Festival. It's rare for a comic book movie to break into the major fall film festival, so that Joker is going to play at two of the season's biggest events is a huge sign of how the industry is perceiving the Joaquin Phoenix starring drama. In an interview with Variety, Venice artistic director Alberto Barbara revealed that it was Phillips who pushed for Joker to land a coveted slot in the festival's competition lineup. Warner Bros. Was set to premiere the movie out of competition like it has its previous years with eventual Oscar winners Gravity and A Star is Born, but the Joker director wanted a shot at the Golden Lion. Yes, as usual, Warner Bros. Said they wanted to be in a more projected situation, as with A Star is Born last year, which launched out of competition, Barbara said. But then director Todd Phillips said, "I don't care if I run the risk of not winning. Why shouldn't I go in competition when I know what I've got on our hands? When I know what we've got on our hands." Barbara continued, "I have to say Warner's was convinced pretty rapidly because it's a really surprising film. It's the most surprising film we've got this year. This one's going straight to the Oscars, even though it's gritty, dark, violent. It has amazing ambition and scope. By competing at Venice, Joker not only has a shot at winning the Golden Lion. Last year's winner was Roma, and we all know how that film went on to dominate Oscar season. But Phoenix can also compete for the Best Actor prize. Phoenix won Venice's Best Actor trophy several years ago for his role in Paul Thomas Anderson's The Master. Imagine if he won the coveted prize for Joker. Not only would that be amazing for Todd Phillips and Joaquin, and deserved from what I've seen from this movie, right? But it's in the war against Disney and the MCU. This would be massive because this is real acclaim. Real acclaim, it's still going to make a profit. The budget is so low. But ultimately, this makes the statement that Warner Brothers want to make DC films going forward that are beautiful films that have great content that move the audiences. And this, my friends, is what we want. This guy, Barbara, right? That's his surname, not his first name, by the way, is saying it's the most impressive different film at the Venice Film Festival. That says a lot. Anyway, we continue with this article. Barbara's comments on Joker are similar to what TIFF artistic director Cameron Bailey told IndieWire earlier this week. "It's an original story, not part of the existing canon," he said. "It does take the character and a lot of the elements that we know from Joker's backstory, but it's an original story that allows the filmmakers to go in an original direction. It's got some real dark tones to it, but it's just grounded in this career best performance by Joaquin Phoenix." Career best performance, I agree. I think all the award bodies will be taking notice. Wow, wow, wow. Beautiful article. Thank you, IndieWire. I'm just proud. You know why I'm proud? It's really sunny. Sorry about that. So the sun's going in my face. But you know why I'm proud? Because I called this. I called this from the moment. And you know, and you guys were calling me a liar. I haven't seen the film, blah, blah, blah. I did see the test screening. I can't prove that, but I did. And I told you what this film was. I told you this was a groundbreaking movie that would change everything. This year, audiences went to see Avengers Endgame. Disney keep on making $1 billion after $1 billion movies. But what Joker movie's going to do is say, fuck the box office. We don't want to hear your box office chat anymore. The world are going to tell Disney now that we want films with content, that when we leave the cinema, we are affected profoundly by, because this is how I was affected by the Joker movie. This is what we want. We're hungry for real fucking films. We are fed up of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I have all the Blu-rays in there, and I like them. It's good escapism. I understand. But ultimately, we need more. There's a place in cinema for the MCU and the DCEU. But we are hungry for a label like the DC Black Label that gives you real films, that has real commentary. But basically, this is a fucking brilliant Joker movie. Now, in terms of Heath Ledger, people that are going to make the comparisons, can't compare it. It's as simple as that. Is he a better Joker than Ledger? Ledger did an amazing thing, then he died. And he never has to get judged on anything else again. Joaquin, let's be honest, Joaquin Phoenix, as a young man, grew up knowing that his brother was going to be the biggest actor in the world. And he died. His career ended. And he had to live with that. And he rose through the shadows to become one of the greatest actors of this generation. But now, he's bigger than that. He's more important than that. Because he is in the middle of the war of the CBM. The war of the comic book movies. We just made $1 billion. We're successful. Look at DC. They've only had $1 billion movie. And it's like you whacking your sausage out of your trousers and saying, I've got a bigger one than you. But now DC have done something that Feige, that Holm, that Iger never expected, to fight with their strengths. And Warner Brothers' strength is the creators that they have at New Line Cinema, real filmmakers who have been around in this industry for 20, 30 years. And it's massive. Yes, this is called the DCEU Daily, and I've explained to you before the reason I call it that, because I can't call it the DC Daily, because official DC have a YouTube video every day called DC Daily, so it'll be taken down. So even though it's called the DCEU Daily, this will always be about any DC project I choose to talk about. And today, I'm proud to say that Joker's going to be massive, both financially, critically, and come award season, just imagine, a DC movie could be winning every award in sight. How does that make you feel? Well, once you've seen the movie, and I can't wait till all you guys have seen the movie so we can finally discuss it. There are so many beautiful talking points. It is brutal, it is dark, but in the best way possible. And Joaquin Phoenix is a master performer. And I'm just proud that we got him to play this DC character. And this is a great start for Walter Hamada's Black Label. And Todd Phillips. Going forward, I'm not sure if Todd will continue to write and direct these movies. I don't know what the plan is next. But you've seen what Todd's done. He pushed for this film to go to the festival. That's massive. So, before I leave you now, I want you to think about this. I know what's going on Twitter with the release of the Snyder Cut. I know there's been a divisive element with John Aaron Garza's comments about Ben Affleck not being happy with Zack Snyder. So I'm just going to squeeze that in. It's not true. Zack Snyder and Ben Affleck never fell out. Ben Affleck had a serious disease called alcoholism. That's one problem. The second problem is Walter Hamada didn't want him to be Batman anymore. They wanted a younger Batman. And Matt Reeves as well. Matt Reeves had a different vision, and that's fair enough. The truth is, Ben Affleck got to play Batman in Batman v Superman. For us, a great movie. He also got to play Batman. Did I say Superman before? Anyway, whatever I said. He got to play Batman in Batman v Superman, right? And he got to play Batman in Suicide Squad. His cameos there were better than most cameos you see in the MCU. Now, ultimately, some of the stuff he was doing in Whedon's Justice League wasn't great. But again, there was some great elements in there of, his fight with Diana, some of the conversations he was having with Diana, and the stuff with Jason Momoa. So there was some good stuff. So basically, in 3 movies he got to play Batman? How many actors get to do that? John Aaron Garza, stop stirring the shit, mate. I'm not a fan of histrionics. I'm not interested in what happened, what went down. We are trying to get the Snyder Cut released so we can enjoy one last entry from this great, unique director to finish this element of the DCEU so we can move on. So I can enjoy the future. No, I have no plans to boycott the DC world of movies, whether it's the Black Label, whether it's Matt Reeves the Batman. And I know a lot of you in this fandom think that by putting these future plans down, you're going to create some kind of, I don't know, major hit that destroys the whole franchise and now calls that back. Never going to happen. But empires are destroyed from within. And the Snyder movement, when we're arguing with each other, there's a problem, because we're not going out there talking about why the Snyder Cut should be released. So I want your comments down below about my thoughts on Joker movie and what's going on with the award seasons and the Venice Film Festival and the directors of these festivals saying what an impressive film Joker movie is. It's the movie that's being talked about in the festival season. That, my friends, tells you something.